To call to order the meeting of the Stony Brook Community Development District. This is Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. The time is 9 a.m. We'll let the record reflect that all supervisors are present at roll call with the exception of Supervisor Simonson, and we'll also note that Supervisor Brady is participating by conference call, and with that would ask for the board to make a motion to allow his continued participation, noting exceptional circumstances.
I make a motion to allow Chris to participate via phone.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're on, Chris.
Madam Chairwoman, it's yours.
Okay, do we have any public comments? Okay, no.
Got your clock on?
Yes, I do.
That's good.
Can we have your name for the record, please?
Paul McFarland,
Thank you, Paul.
21628 Bellhaven Way. My comments are just really centered around 2 points that I would like to make. One, the announcement in the newspaper of what was a great accomplishment, and I think, Eileen, you wrote the article. And all I am saying here is I think that the community taxpayers deserve a more complete explanation of this transaction that occurred. And I know that in the CDD records there are literally thousands of pages of documentation of the purchase. But I would contend that the great majority of the taxpayers here in the community really don't know it, and I would submit that as evidence in the fact that probably 30-35% vote for a resolution, whether it's on the homeowners association. So I think that you should submit a more complete letter to the taxpayers. You can include it, I suppose, in the newspaper, but I think it ought to be independently sent, and it really should talk about what the rationale for the expenditure was, and certainly the largest expenditure in the history of this, and define succinctly what the cost of the taxpayers are. Because the cost of the taxpayers was a $6.7 million purchase for the property, which ended up costing $7.7 million. But the true entire cost for the purchase of the Duffy's and Pro Shop is $16,335,000 with interest over a 30-year period included in that. And I think that the people should understand that in this particular article here, it makes a point that, the next year's tax bill won't go up all that much, which is probably true. But in the longer run of their tax bill is going up. And in the FY23 budget, in fact, about half of the total assessment of $1,546, of which $743.63 is for the 2022 bonds. So I think that's the thing. The other thing is I think that there are some small points that need to be emphasized there too. For example, and I think it appears in the minutes of the last meeting, but that there was a 10-year no call. So even if we wanted to, I guess, pay the bonds off early, we really can't do anything about it. And what the reason for that is. And I think certainly why it was so important to make a $16.3 million purchase. Some detail regarding the Duffy's lease and the use of those funds, and the fact that we would decide to spend $7.7 million, or roughly twice what we're spending on the infrastructure cost. So that's the one thing that I'm really interested if there could be more detail so that the public really has a better understanding. The only second point that I would really like to make would be kind of a detailed explanation by the board and any actions that you're going to take to offset the increased cost to taxpayers, whatever those might be. I understand with the no-call bond that creates some issues for you, but certainly, you know, an explanation of what's going to be done with the Duffy's funds and when, and that reserve. And I do believe that there's a whole host of issues revolving around the golf course, which I think has done a fine job.
Mr. McFarland, your 5 minutes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Do we have
I'm
any-
certain you don't want to hear too much. We might spend, 20 minutes on a bush on the 14th green, but, or around the 14th green, but you don't really want to hear from anybody here. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Have a good day. Be safe in the storm. Any other comments?
What bush?
I don't know. Okay.
Party shot.
Before we go into, no, I didn't. Jeff, you wanted to talk about hurricane preparedness. Jeff and John, are you guys ready for the storm?
Yes.
Yes, just want to make some clarification. I'm probably going to close today around 2 o'clock, if that's acceptable with the board. And then we will be closed tomorrow, and then we will play Thursday by ear. And they're still calling for storm effects on Thursday morning. And then once the storm has passed, we'll need to evaluate, what's down, what's damaged, and how quickly we can open the golf course back up. Now, you guys that were here for Irma, remember that was about a 20-day process.
Right.
I'm hoping that it's nothing like Irma, but, I think that actually here in Estero, we may be safer than where I live. But I hope that we don't get in the process with a bunch of downed trees and garages and fairways and that kind of stuff that we had during Irma.
Okay.
We would hope to open, best case scenario, we open Friday, even Thursday afternoon, best case scenario.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't want, if we're not ready and the cart paths aren't cleared up and the course isn't ready for it, it's not worth it going out and there and damaging the course.
Yeah.
And John, you need to determine, you'll know the course and what we can and can't do.
Well, we also have to clean up the past and stuff as well.
Right.
And you know how people are in a hurricane, they've been cooped up, the first thing they want to do is they want to go check things out, what happened.
Yeah.
So, typically we got to get out there and start making it safe for people, look up, is there any widow makers hanging up in branches, half broke branches getting ready to teeter off. And just do that first, assess that, because we'll be out here before people wake up, and out before dark, but as soon as it gets light, people are going to start coming out. So I want to have as much as the walkways and roadways assessed and cleaned up, and then we'll hit the golf course and see what we got to do from there. Like I said, most people Thursday morning are going to be worried about playing, so we'll have enough time to assess the golf course and say, hey,
Yeah. And I think it's smart to stay closed Thursday morning to get it all cleaned up before we move on.
And we'll be 3 days without mowing green, so I don't think
The main thing would be the water. The lake levels are at capacity.
yeah.
And if we get, 8 inches, 12 inches, even if it isn't really a wind event for Estero, but it's more of a rain event, 12 inches of rain, a foot of rainwater is obviously going to close us for a little bit.
Right.
I mean, we're looking at unpassable bridges in a couple spots and so forth.
And John, you've checked the spillways where they're all
Checked them this
cleaned down?
morning, they're good. They're not even really spilling water, which is good, because they're
Okay.
under control.
But they're all cleaned
But
up?
so that, we can take on a little bit of water. That's the biggest concern. You don't want a lot of rain because it softens the soil, and that's when you get more trees to fall.
Yeah.
If it's just wind, most of the trees can handle as long as the soil's not
Yeah,
overly saturated.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain recently.
A lot of rain.
But unlike Irma, where you had that huge rain the week before Irma.
Exactly.
So hopefully that
Yeah.
the water is...
But to Jeff's point, like that spot on 18, I don't know how much more it can take.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know how much more it can keep doing it that fast. Because it's done that plenty of times, but there's time in between, and now it's just, if you get better, now it's happened again, and then, So that's standing water there, and there's going to be standing water there.
That's the Stony Brook Swim Club.
Yeah, so,
We're gonna see
And
that.
if we had to, like, let's say the 18th is a major problem, we could always close the 18th hole until it's properly drained and play 17 and have them come in from 17.
Yeah, and just tell
We
them
don't
how to
have-
start.
You know, I just don't want to get in a scenario where we're closed for like 30 days. That
No,
really
I-
makes me nervous, especially that in the first 30 days of basically a new fiscal year.
Yeah, so, yeah, so you guys,
the chainsaws are ready, we got things, everything's ready to go. Edison Oil, we're about half full with our gas, about about a little over half with our diesel, but we called them Thursday, and they said they'd be here Monday, but they haven't made it yet, so.
okay. And Jeff, the beverage cart you're gonna put underneath the,
Yes, ma'am.
okay,
Everything else has been pulled off the course except flag sticks, there's no T-markers, trash cans,
okay.
coolers, anything like that, anything loose, out of bounds stakes are still there, they're not gonna go anywhere, but most everything else,
So you said the flag
raised
sticks are still out there?
for today.
Okay.
Then his guy will pick them up.
Oh, right, okay, you guys will pick them up.
What else? Rakes are picked up. Drains, all the drains that we have, like when you leave 3 green, 4 green, we check them all, you know, make sure that they're ready to take on whatever they can take on. Shops secure. I strapped down the roof of the pump house, the gable that is removable to put service to pumps. Picked up all the current debris that's out there right now, and that's really,
How late are your guys staying today?
they're gone.
They're
And they
gone.
left right before. I had totally forgot about this meeting. I called Cross to tell her not to come in. I said, Cross, we're actually buttoned everything up. And she's like, you got everything ready for the meeting? And I was like, oh my God. Because I was gonna let Dave lives on Matlacha, and to get off the island, to use the truck, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, Dave was gonna take me home, and I was like, Dave, you got to hang out for a little bit, man. I got this meeting. He's like, I'll just have Rick come and get me or something, you know. I was like, I'm sorry, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I could have taken you home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
Hey, what about the starter shack?
The green one?
Yeah, not tied down. It's a good question, Chris. I don't know.
We went once when you blow away.
Yeah. I guess there's not much we can do at this
It's
point.
got windows on it, it'll break the windows.
It's forkable?
It's forkable.
Can I fork it and push it up against
You
something?
anchors.
Put it against the fence, maybe.
You ever said anchors?
Or,
Do you really? Yeah.
I mean, if I can fork it, I probably would.
Those are called for. My trailer.
Can you do that by yourself?
I was gonna put my
Yeah, maybe I can tuck it up in between where we, that little area behind the starter shed, or behind the bag rack.
Okay.
No, it's only like $4,000.
They're only
You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, worst case scenario.
Right there, tuck it up in there, but.
Worst case scenario is let it fall over.
I don't see it, I don't see it.
I don't think, it's pretty heavy. I don't think it's
It's in a good spot, it's not like it's in the open.
Yeah, that's up, but that's up on the trees and stuff.
That part just not over.
We can knock them over. Worst case scenario, they fall over, we just give it up.
Get new ones.
Well, that's in the plan anyway, so.
Okay, all right, so you guys, it sounds like you guys are ready. John, you want to start?
Sure. I'll start with the pump house that was completed here recently. We got the new pump station. The process went very smooth. Very pleased with it. Everything's running good and efficiently, like it should. All new electrical lighting. I invite people who ever want to come down and see it, you know, get a hold of me, and I'm glad to take you down there for a quick little tour. We got to put a new door on it. That's coming probably next week. But other than that, it went really, really smooth. I'm very happy with the process.
And I have to say that I was down there several times. Milo and his group were amazing, and I would like to write a letter commending
Minimal disruption.
what a great job they did, how supportive they were with everything, even let me go in there and look. And Tyson and Tyler, the two newest employees that were doing the stop and slow, amazing.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, those are
really
two really
did a
good
great job, and the fact that we never had to really close the road down. But I would like to, from the CDD, send a letter to Milo and his company, just,
That'd be nice.
they were so accommodating with everybody, and so I was really pleased, so it's a good choice. And it looks good.
It does, it looks
I
really
like the
good.
colors.
I like it a lot. And it's nice, more lighting in there, so it's well lit.
John, just a second, Chris,
Oh,
you
I'm
had
sorry, Chris.
something?
I was just going to say, I was out of town, but monitoring the CDD email, there wasn't one complaint, so that was refreshing.
Yes,
So nice work.
yeah, they did a great job.
Good.
Thanks, Chris.
As far as staffing, I'm fully staffed. I lost somebody a few weeks ago, but I was able to hire back. So it seems like staffing is becoming a lot easier than it was, 3 months ago, yeah. So we're good there. We did have some vacation issues again in the month of September because, our fiscal year changes because we were so short-staffed for most of the year. Up until August, that people were just working. So now September rolls along and people got a week, 2 weeks, but it's 5, 6 people. And because we don't pay out, I have to figure out a way. So I was able to get everybody squeezed in. Like 3 guys are on vacation right now as we speak, so they kind of feel bad for them in their vacations or a hurricane. But one guy, Romeo, I told him I have to pay him 3 days of his vacation because he is transportation for like 3 of those people, and there was no other way around it. So I told him, I said, I'll just, if you come to work and bring them to work, then we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I spoke to Crosby about that,
Okay.
and it's not something I want to do with everybody, but in this case, it's extended.
Yeah, I mean, it's like $400.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Not going to break the bank.
Right. The Pro Shop landscape bid, if you see that I submitted in front of all the board members, this is the cost for the plantings that they submitted in their plan. This is me going out and getting the cost of those materials. If this doesn't have our labor in it, you could probably add $850 to $1,200 depending on who's doing it for labor. So at the high end, we're at $3,400.
Okay.
Completely installed with what they proposed on the plan. There's room for improvement. I know it's kind of hard to see, but when we first took that out, part of the problem was how much was in there. They kind of jammed a lot in there again.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I mean, here you're looking at 21 podocarpus. I don't want that much greenery.
Well, because they're so small, it may seem like a lot, but that's how many it's going to take, because those are on tighter spaces.
Okay, but you're not doing them as much as they had in their plan.
No, this is according to their plan.
Their plan.
The podocarpus is probably what's going to have the most of, like that. This dwarf red exora, you got 50 of them.
The jasmine will grow big.
The croton. I don't think the Asiatic jasmine, those are the ground cover. Yeah, right, the croton, I don't know. So this is just what they had. I mean, we could thin it out,
Okay.
but.
It looked like a lot of greenery. It looked like there were like a lot of greenery in front of there. I know that their plan is nice. I like what they've done. Their price is higher than what we could do. Do you feel that you could do this?
Yeah. We'll start our, I also inquired about the pricing on trees for the golf course during this process. I know we spoke about that, and I'm still waiting to hear back on that. But next week, depending on what the storm does, we can start that process. Get these plants ordered. I don't know what the storm's going to do with backlogging everybody for, probably a week, I would say, in all fairness. But yeah, we can do that, and we can start that next week and get that going. The Stony Brook stone is ready to put in front of the flagpole.
Did you guys know what we were doing with that? That monument at the Stony Brook Golf Club?
With the logo, yeah.
With the logo. Dave cleaned it all up, painted the letters gold, and put a cover.
Sealed epoxy, yeah, sealed epoxy.
It looks amazing, and it's going to go right in front of the flagpole. John, did you look at the decorative rock to go around?
I did. I took some picture samples. I went down to Earth Elements last Thursday or Friday. There's options. As far as, what would you feel about putting around the pole? You know how there's that gap?
Right.
We can either paver it, have Master Z come out, which I think should probably be the best thing.
Right.
It would look the cleanest, you know, have the pavers go all the way up the pole. Or you could put some kind of aggregate, like a nice river rock and smooth gray stone, but that's not gonna, then you're got weeds growing in it because there's dirt down in there, and then if there are floods and water puddles. So I think we should paver it. Master Z called me yesterday, they still haven't gotten paid. But I called Cross and said, hey, can you double check on that? And so,
I would rather paver around the flagpole,
Yeah.
but I would like something, because one of the golfers did bring up the fact that, you know, carts are going to run into the flagpole. Well,
Sure.
hopefully they don't. You know, do a decorative rock around the backside of it. There's a car in there. Sorry. So we were looking at that just to kind of protect the flagpole. So, and how much would 3 or 4 of those rocks be?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't, you're talking like a round atlas stone type thing? Because now you're taking up a lot of space outside around it, and it's kind of, you know,
Well, we'll have, maybe we can go out and look at it
Yeah.
and see. But in the short term, I would like to make a motion to have John spend up to, I'm going to say up to $4,000 to do the plantings in front of the pro shop and get that done sooner than later.
Second.
Any comments from the board?
Where are you getting this stuff from, John?
these, I called on these from Site 1.
Is that where you get your other flowers?
No, I get the flowers from American Farmers. I mean, I tend, most of the time I use Site 1, they used to be, you remember that name, Phil, they used to be? They were right by you guys, right down that same road, except you go past your shop and then to the left back there. And
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, I don't.
I forget who they used to be, but they sold to Site 1, and that's, we've been using them for a long time. They're a good company. That's who we use. Some new water cooler stations for the golf course.
Okay, let's finish with this.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we...
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, John, if you can start with that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, here, let's do the trees. So, Mr. Brady inquired about some trees on 1, 4, 6, and 18. But we talked about some more Royal Poincianas, some Jacaranda on 6, 4, maybe some like white crepe myrtles, because that kind of falls into another issue on 4 I'll get into shortly. So I called the same company about those, and they haven't been able to get back to me on any of those. So the Royal Poincianas are out. It would have to be a field grown, so that's going to be too expensive. But she said she was going to get back to me yesterday with the prices, but I think in lieu of the hurricane.
I think everything's going to be backed up a week or so.
Yeah. So we will be planting some new trees though on these holes, so you'll see some new color, more color. It'll look good. We had a cart path easement issue on 4. So they, McGarvey, I believe? McGreevy. At one time wanted something trimmed. Mr. Brady and I went out there to check it out. We agreed that, you know, what to trim and what to replace, and then we needed to take out some trees. I scheduled that. When the vendor came out to do it, they didn't want that, the McGreevy's didn't want that done. So we went to try to meet with them and, you know, come up with a solution. And during that time, we had to figure out whose property was who. Because there's a cart path that goes in between Mr. Payne's house and the McGreevy's. And through contact with Tony, we figured out that there's a 22-foot easement through there. So basically, almost to their property, to the wall of their home.
Wow, okay.
Because they're really close. There's a point in the section where the landscaping up against the cart path almost touches their AC unit and touches their landscaping on the outside. So
Yeah,
we
it's pretty
have,
tight there,
yeah.
for sure. I mean, you know, I think, I was thinking about that, John, probably, you know, we're just assuming that the car path goes to the middle of that. Maybe it doesn't, you know.
No, you're-
Here a little bit or something, but either or.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Tight for 22 feet.
But yeah, regardless of, how it shifts, I'm sure those trees are definitely ours, but we tried to meet with them, and I don't think we've had any contact. I don't, unless Mr. Brady has recently, but, so.
I've reached out, I haven't heard anything from them for a couple of weeks, really. But there are trees, so I guess we need to move forward and know what we need to do.
We need to take them out.
So they're the ones that wanted it cleaned up, but then they didn't want the trees removed.
Right, so when we came out there and, looked at some of the shrubbery, that we noticed like these trees are, obviously damaging the cart path, and if we're gonna take these shrubs out and fix that, we might as well take these trees out while we're here,
Okay.
That was agreed upon, but then when the day that was to happen, that's kind of got this whole thing going.
Well, if it's damaging the cart path and there are trees, I think we need to move ahead.
Yeah.
Maybe Ian will help us.
I don't know if it'll fall towards their home.
Probably. Okay.
Other than that, I really don't have anything else unless you have any questions for me that I have off the top of my head.
I did have one question, John. The wall on Braxfield, I know you went out and looked at it.
The wall on Braxfield, thank you. Yes, I went and looked at it. It does need, probably could use a coat of paint, sure, but there's no cracks in it or anything like that. There's no structural damage. One person mounted a camera on it for their backyard. I got up and I walked the whole thing from the top. We pulled all the vines off of it that were growing back, and there wasn't a lot. Most of that stuff that we cleaned a few years back, it's still really fairly clean. The fence line, there's a fence line that butts up against it, so the wall runs in, there's a chain link fence that meets it. Well, right here, there's a lot of damage, probably kids, sneaking through there. It needs to be repaired.
Okay.
Just because I'm surprised that the homeowner never said anything. It's so bad.
So we're really looking at repairing the fence.
The chain link fence, yeah.
And then,
So if we're gonna have somebody out there to paint or pressure wash the wall, there's a lot of landscaping that is abutted against the wall, which I think there's a 3-foot easement or 5. You told me this, didn't you tell me the easement on that wall? Braxfield.
Yeah.
What is that easement on that? 3 feet, 10 feet?
That's a 10-footer. Or the easement is 12-foot easement all the way around the community.
No, the Braxfield wall for the homeowner site.
Yeah, I know. Well, we go with the rule of something like 12 feet.
So, I mean, that's,
The wall's inside our property line, isn't it?
that's part of the property line,
So
actually.
it's right on the line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that gives the guys carts that go spraying lake and stuff, gives them the same pathway all around the community.
And we had the lady come in, she said, yeah, we were well aware that if, we plant stuff, you guys might have to take it down and paint. And I'm starting to think she wasn't one of the people that put something up against the wall.
well, if they've got stuff up against the wall and planted there,
Trees, I'm talking Norfolk Island pines.
Yeah, so it's going to
Massive
hinder our
trees.
ability to do that. And if we power wash, whose water are we going to use?
Well, power washer probably has its own tank.
Tank,
You know what I mean? But there's gonna,
It's going to be difficult if they've already put stuff there.
very difficult. And
You know,
some spots, a lot of spots are to be.
So if this is done, but I can't do here, and then I have to do over here, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we just go take another look at it, maybe,
Yeah,
Phil,
absolutely.
you want to go out with John and look at it and see what we can do at some point in time? Okay. And just, come back with an idea of what we can and can't do, because if all their stuff is there and it's going to hinder us doing it, I'm not going to piecemeal it. And so they have to make a decision, do they want it cleaned up or however we do that? Okay. Well, thanks, John, that's all I had for you.
John?
Yes, sir.
What's going on in 12 and 13 Green again?
What's that?
What's going on in 12, Green, and 13?
Just a little weak on the edges right now, a lot of rain. unaware.
Looks like the same.
Yeah, it is. 13, I don't, here, let me explain this.
I thought the sub was supposed to take care of that.
It is, but it's not gonna heal, it's not perfect. You have a set of greens that have been sick for years, it helps it, and you've seen that it helps it, but when you're getting bad adverse conditions, it's only gonna help it so much. You know, you gotta roll with what you got. 13, we have an issue on the perimeter again, because during the last aerification, my best guy, he decided to aerify the perimeter. The one green, I came off of 14, I looked at 13, I called Todd, and I was like, why did you aerify 13? Todd didn't do it. I said, why is it 13 green perimeter aerified, Todd? He said, what are you talking about? I said, it's aerified. He said, I don't know. So he came out there and he's like, I don't know what happened. He knows not that, he just, a rogue employee, one of my best employees thought to go out of his way to aerify it. And, you know, what's done is done.
So John, can we,
We're gonna have to, like in the back, we'll have to sod some of that area,
okay,
but that's it, just like we did last year, you know?
can we sod it and kind of cordon it off and kind of baby it?
Yeah, we don't have to cordon it off, we can just sod it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but 12, I mean, 12 is a different animal, it's just the wear and tear, the sun, you know, and just, yeah. But it'll be fun. 12 is gonna be way better than 13. 13 is gonna need some love, because everybody walks up on that, you know.
That's what I'm thinking, if we kind of cordon that off a little, maybe that would deter them, maybe sidetrack them someplace else.
No, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna take it out,
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Just have it ready.
But all the other ones with that sub-air have really helped. It's just,
Everything, yeah.
it's a sick green, and we gotta baby it until we get
Need
new
new
ones.
greens, but new drainage. I mean, there it is. These greens are shit design. I mean, that's what they are.
John, just tell me how you feel.
I mean, that's how I feel, but I'm tired of defending the position on these. You know what I mean? It's like, they're garbage. As far as the drainage systems are, it's like a child design. You know, and that's
But we get to
Neater.
some stuff Jeff and I were talking about, and paying down the bond to get to the greens and the fairways sooner.
and it's hard, you know, because every time there's bad weather, you know, this event, I got to worry about what's going to happen. You know, how bad is it going to set back? You know, and you just kind of go with that, hopefully.
Okay.
So.
But the sub-air
Sub-air's
is
doing great.
working.
Yeah, we run on the putting green, 13 here the past couple of weeks, and 12, just to try to, you know, mitigate this. We've seen it.
Okay.
It's not now.
Huh? No, not now. No, I'm not gonna- I'll wait till
I
after.
get it now, I'm driving home.
But yeah, I mean, I know. I drive by them every day, and I see that, so it's tough sometimes.
John, can we use that sub-air system to get the water out of 18 and 9?
No.
Is there a system?
Where are you going to put it?
Well, we can't run it down Boulevard and
That goes into the lake.
Which fills up.
It's all one system, but
Right, but this water is stuck. There's nowhere for it to go. Is there a drain?
the water is coming up with the drain through the lake. Yeah, that's up.
Oh,
And
so
then-
all you're doing is circulating.
Just circling. Right.
So it's bubbling out.
It's bubbling. Yeah, it's not clogged, drains aren't clogged or compromised or
When
anything.
where do you bring to the golf course from there?
It's just hydraulics, right, going up and down.
Just make it
Yeah,
I
we
just say
got,
we have a swim club.
yeah, we're gonna be,
Sell memberships, we raise money.
Put a hazard. Put a hazard. Make it a permanent hazard. That's something.
Let's make a permanent lake in the golf course.
yeah.
Just seasonal.
If you dug like a creek and put stones in it,
Yeah.
you know, it could be a whole thing when you redo the golf
Change the
course.
layup, put it in.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. So we're redesigning the course and the fairway.
Yep. Add more water.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's definitely been, the rain is, I've seen it more this year, 18, than any other year.
Well, you know, I was looking at stuff the other day. We are 14 inches above last year at the same time, and 15 inches above normal. So,
And we were kind of droughtish
Back in
in
May.
June,
Yeah.
because we had a 6-inch rain event the first week of June, nothing for 3 weeks, and then another 6-inch at the very end.
Yeah.
That first 6-inch rain event filled the lakes, then the last one, in June, got the water flowing, and then ever since then, we've been
So I think we're up to like 65 inches of rain so far this year. So I could drown.
So knock on wood, we're good.
That's not good for this, what's going on.
Financials, or when we get into that,
Okay.
you know, we'll talk about it, unless you want to just wait.
We'll wait for you. We'll wait for we'll do the financials when we get there. Okay, Jeff.
Okay, a couple things. So, end of the month, which effectively will be today because we're probably not going to be open until October 1 at the best. We're $31,000 ahead of revenue. Our rounds year to date will put us somewhere around 51,000 plus, which is pretty good. That includes all cart fees and 9-hole rounds, but around 51,000 plus. Peyton left us. She went to work for a marketing company, something more in line with her degree. We enjoyed having her, and we wish her the best. Let's see. So I talked to Rob Fowler yesterday with Fowler Construction. They're 95% complete with all the permitting issues to send into the village.
And that's for the starter sheds, the cart attendant?
Right, starter shed, cart attendant.
And the golf ball.
And the ball dispenser. So he's hoping to have the village to have approval within 30 days and be able to start by the end of October. And it shouldn't be long after he starts with the completion. Then we should be able to install the ball machine and get going with that and move forward with that. So that'll be great. Let's see. You had asked me, we talked about, this kind of correlates to another issue. If we look down at number 4 on the agenda, it talks about the consideration of the Sonoa's Bank final terms. In my opinion, and I talked it over with you a little bit, I don't think we need to do that. I think we're better off